can probably think of several songs that use Psalm 121 or portions of it. Total Praise is one. It is no doubt that it is a great song because it gives us assurance that God is our helper, our provider, and our protector. He's always with us, and He never slumbers nor sleeps. I chose Psalm 121 when I was in 6th grade. We would begin each day with a song, a prayer, and reciting Bible verses. The students would be in charge of devotion. And I've always been a little bit competitive, so I spent one weekend learning the full 121. It was the right length, did not have too many Hebrew words, and it was fun. I was so excited when Monday rolled around because I had a secret. Devotion began. Someone recited, "I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my help," and stopped. I let 2 more people recite verses before I raised my hand. I stood up and started. "I will lift up mine eyes into the hills, from whence cometh my help." "Someone already said that," came the retort. I put my hands on my hips, cocked my head to one side, and continued. "My help cometh from the Lord that made heaven and earth." I kept going until I got to, "for even forevermore." I heard the gasp and someone said, "She learned the whole chapter," and I beamed with pride. When my little 12-year-old self chose that psalm, I was trying to impress my classmates. What I did not realize was I was giving myself a foundation that would carry me through for years to come. Just as God was my help to memorize that psalm, He would continue to be my help throughout my life. It did not have meaning to me until age 14, when my school-age world was upended. Desegregation lines were drawn straight through my neighborhood, and my friends and I were torn apart. At school, I was further separated and placed in classes with 4 black students and 16 white students. So here I was, a minority in a predominantly black school. I will lift up mine eyes. Meaning of that psalm came again whenever I became apprehensive about being one of only 100 black students on a 15,000 student campus in Ohio in the winter. Am I safe walking to and from my apartment on the ice and snow and surrounded by, are they my enemies? Meaning came when I grew up and got married and weathered the storms of any relationship. Oh, we stayed together, still together. Meaning came when I started working and saw people mistreating each other. Sometimes I was a target, sometimes I was not. Meaning came when I left the security of my home church, Thankful Baptist in Savannah, and realized that adult Christians do not always treat each other as Jesus did or said to do, just like the children Christians. It wasn't until I lost my dad, my mom, my sisters, aunts, uncles, and friends that I realized the significance of Psalm 121. That psalm gave me security, reassurance, strength, and even peace. When have you had to trust God that you were in the right situation? Has He ever had to carry you through a situation or lift you out of a situation? Has He ever sheltered you in a storm, guarded your heart, or stepped in when you ran out of money before you ran out of money? Psalm 121 is a song of ascent, a song of upward movement. The purpose is to move you from your low ebb to a higher state. That higher state is ultimate communion with God. Psalm 121 is one of a collection of pilgrim songs. These are the songs that people sang while they were on a pilgrimage or a journey to a festival or a temple or religious event. Sometimes these pilgrimages would take days, sometimes weeks, sometimes months, or even years. Just like you might sing songs or chants on a bus on the way to camp or to a football game. These were those kinds of songs. But unlike just being a cheer, Psalm 121 is a song of reassurance. It is a psalm you would sing or recite when things seem out of control. How many times have you found yourself singing or even moaning because the situation around you seems so painful? This psalm is a reminder that in horrific times, God is near. Perhaps this is why so many Christian artists have used its lyrics. Let's look at the structure of the song. Someone or somebody is having a conversation. It might just be a conversation with themselves. It could be a dialogue between a parent and a child, or a priest and a pilgrim, or two people debating the power of the Lord. Verse 1 is a question. I will lift up mine eyes to the hills. The hill is an allusion to heaven. The question is, who will help me? Note he's looking up for his help. He's not looking at things on his level. He is not seeking help from public officials or even religious figures. The psalmist expects his help will come from those hills, for that is where God lives. If the question in verse 1 is, who will help me? Then the answer is in verse 2. The Lord will help me. He has placed his trust in God because he is the creator of the heaven and earth, and so he has all power needed to protect. How will the Lord protect you? Verse 3 tells us, he will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He will not let you stumble or fall into misfortune or trouble. Being protected by God is a blessing. Verse 4 tells us that God is always awake and always alert, watching over you. The protections continue to be acknowledged in verse 5 and 6. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. Your keeper and your shade mean your protector. He will protect the traveler from the harmful effects of the sun. Remember, this song was being sung as a part of a pilgrimage. People are walking maybe through a desert trying to reach their destination. Even now, people make pilgrimages to be a part of significant events. In America, people made pilgrimages to D.C. for Dr. King's speech and for the Million Man March. Some even made pilgrimages recently to be a part of a protest, demonstrations across America. People on religious pilgrimages, even when going into uncertain lands, are not usually too afraid to risk the journey because they know that God is near and at your side. He walks with me. Verse 6 lets you know that God protects both day and night. He's not your hideout, but your bodyguard. Can't you feel the safety of being in his arms? He is constantly available. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. Verse 7 repeats in more emphatic and general terms the promise that Yahweh will keep you safe from all kinds of danger and harm. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore. There is so much in that last verse. The Hebrew phrase "you're going out and you're coming in" is taken in by the sense of activity in general. From the time you leave the house in the morning until the time you return in the evening, wherever you go or wherever you may be, when you leave here and when you arrive at your destination, that is for the whole journey, his protection lasts forever. When you look back over your life, can you now see God's hands guiding you and protecting you? He's been with you yesterday, today, and will be with you forever. We rejoice because we know that God is the protector and we expect him to help us. So when things around you seem to be getting darker and darker, when the world seems out of kilter, when the government does not seem to understand its people, and when authority figures don't seem to understand their role, that's when you lift up your eyes. When violence strikes up and you're not sure if you're safe in your own home, that's when you lift up your eyes. You lift up your eyes into the hills. When you are tasked with homeschooling and not knowing how the bills will be paid and yet keeping up a brave face and keeping your family sane, that's when you lift up your eyes. So no matter what it looks like, no matter what it feels like, no matter how angry it is or how unjust it seems, remember, our God is in control. You might not understand his ways or how he's going to fix it. You don't know how things will work out. All he has asked us to do is to lift up our eyes unto the hills. I bless the Lord and sing praises to his name, for God will fight your battles. He knows your comings and your goings. Just keep on believing and keep on holding on. Try not to focus on your situation. but look at Jesus. Don't focus on what is going on with you. Look up into the hill where lies the source of your strength. When you look up, you combine your spirit with Christ, and He will give you that peace that passes understanding. So whether you are sad, scared, mad, discouraged, depressed, or just feeling human, let this psalm move you. Lift up, look up, and lean on Him. I will lift up mine eyes to the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord that made heaven and earth. He said He would not suffer thy foot to be moved. The Lord that keepeth thee, He will not slumber nor sleep. For the Lord is thy keeper, the Lord is the shade upon